Imagine a quiet Saturday morning, coffee steaming on the porch rail, sun cutting through the trees, and the soft hum of cicadas over the fields. My land sits just beyond the edge of a gated HOA neighborhood. A line of pine trees separates their manicured perfection from my stretch of honest dirt and freedom. Out here, I don't answer to anyone. No HOA bylaws, no approved paint colors, no Karen with a clipboard telling me where to park my truck. But peace never lasts long when someone like her is next door. Karen, self-appointed queen of the HOA. She wore her authority like armor. Always out early, inspecting lawns, measuring mailboxes, and snapping pictures of garden tools left outside overnight. If you gave her an inch, she'd demand a mile, and a copy of your deed. She hated that my land sat just outside her reach. I could feel her eyes on me every time I drove my tractor past the fence. She'd wave. That fake polite wave, then shout something like, you could really increase property value if you painted your barn beige. Or, you should remove that trailer. Eyesore for the neighborhood. Every time, I'd respond the same way. Not your neighborhood, Karen. That answer burned her alive. Then one afternoon, as I was working near the gate, a glossy flyer fluttered against the fence. I picked it up and laughed. Big bold letters. Community Lakeside Festival, sponsored by Meadow Haven HOA. There was only one problem. The lakeside grounds they were advertising, that was my lake, my property. At first, I thought it was just Karen trying to puff up the HOA's reputation, pretending her neighborhood had lake access when it didn't. I tossed the flyer in the trash and didn't think twice. But the next day, my neighbor Jim from down the road stopped me at the hardware store. "Hey," he said, "you ready for the big HOA event this weekend?" I frowned. "What event?" He raised an eyebrow. "Karen said she worked out a deal with you." "The community picnic?" 10 buses, maybe more. She said it's all approved. My stomach turned. I told him flatly, that woman's out of her mind. "There's no deal. That's private land." He just shrugged. "Then you might want to clear things up." "People already paid to come. Paid? For what?" That night, I searched the HOA Facebook page. There it was, Karen's post. "Excited to announce our first ever Lakeside Family Fun Day. Food, music, swimming, and community fun. Buses depart Saturday morning. All proceeds go to HOA improvements." Hundreds of likes. Dozens of comments. "Can't wait. Finally something fun for the kids." "Thanks, Karen." I sat back in my chair, jaw tight. She wasn't bluffing this time. She was selling tickets to an event on my property. By Friday night, I drove down to check the gate just in case. Solid iron, heavy chain, padlock in place. The fields were quiet. The lake reflected the moon like nothing bad could ever happen there. Then came Saturday morning. I woke to the sound of engines, deep, rumbling, overlapping. Not one, not two, a convoy. When I stepped outside, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. A line of charter buses rolling up the dirt road, kicking up clouds of dust. 10 of them. Massive, white, shining in the sun like an invading army. Doors hissed open. Dozens, no, hundreds of people poured out, chattering, laughing, carrying coolers and umbrellas. Kids ran ahead toward the fence, pointing at the lake, and in the center of it all, there she was, Karen, big sun hat, clipboard, a whistle around her neck like she was running summer camp. "All right, everyone," she shouted. "Lake access is down that way. Set up by the water! Volleyball nets by the barn." My jaw locked. I walked straight down the driveway, gravel crunching under my boots. "Karen!" She turned, all smiles, pretending not to notice the steam practically rising off my head. "Oh, good morning. Isn't it a beautiful day for the community?" "What the hell are you doing?" I snapped. "This is my property." She tilted her head, smile never fading. "Oh, don't be dramatic. The community deserves to use this space. You've got so much land. It's just a picnic." I took a step closer. "This isn't HOA property. You can't just bus in 100 strangers." She reached into her folder and handed me a stack of papers, photocopies of HOA bylaws. "Actually, under our easement agreement," I cut her off. "This isn't your jurisdiction. Those documents mean nothing here." Her voice hardened. "You really want to make this difficult? These families paid to be here." "Paid?" I said. "You charge people to trespass?" Her smile twitched. "It's for the community fund." "You wouldn't want to disappoint all these families, would you?" I turned toward the crowd, raising my voice. Everyone listen. You've been lied to. This isn't public land. This isn't part of any HOA. You're trespassing, murmurs spread through the crowd. A few people stopped unpacking coolers. Parents looked uncertain. Karen barked, "Don't listen to him. He's just bitter. This whole area's been part of the HOA's extended grounds for years." I pulled out my phone, opened the county property map, and projected it toward the group. "See this line? The HOA ends here. Everything past this fence? Mine. She has no right to bring you here." Silence. A man near the buses shouted, "Wait, you mean we paid to be here?" Another voice joined in. "She said it was approved." Karen's mask cracked for the first time. "Everyone just relax, okay?" He's confused, but it was too late. The crowd was turning. People were shouting about refunds. One mother grabbed her kids and started back toward the bus. I crossed my arms, looked straight at Karen, and said quietly, "You really outdid yourself this time." The smile was gone now. Her face was pale, voice low and tight. "You'll regret this. You can't embarrass me like this in front of my community." "Oh, I think I can," I said. "And I think it's just getting started." The morning it happened, the air was calm, the kind of quiet that makes you forget chaos even exists. I was halfway through my first cup of coffee when I heard it, a deep, low rumble rolling across the fields. It wasn't a tractor, it wasn't a delivery truck. It sounded like thunder, but steady, mechanical. Then one by one they appeared over the hill. Buses, not one, not two, 10 full-size charter buses. Each one glossy blue and packed. My jaw went slack. I stood at the porch railing, watching as they lined up like a motorcade, engines hissing, air brakes snapping in rhythm. Doors opened, and the flood began. Dozens of strangers poured out, carrying lawn chairs, picnic baskets, inflatable floats, and coolers big enough to cater a festival. Kids ran down the slope toward my lake, already kicking off their shoes. Adults laughed, snapping selfies, setting up blankets on my grass. And then, at the center of it all, striding like she owned the place, Karen, white sun hat, clipboard in hand, big sunglasses that screamed self-importance. She barked orders with that piercing voice you could hear from a mile away. "Set up the volleyball net over there. Grills go by the barn. And make sure the banners are facing the lake. We want good photos for the HOA newsletter." I walked down my driveway in disbelief. "Karen, what the hell are you doing here?" She turned, smiling that smug, fake smile she reserved for moments she thought she'd already won. "Oh, relax," she said, waving her clipboard. "The community just wanted to enjoy the lake today. You've got plenty of room." My voice came out sharper than I intended. "This isn't your community. This is private property." "You can't just—" "Oh, but I can," she interrupted, holding up a folder full of papers. "According to these documents, your property falls under shared use privileges for the HOA's recreational zone." "It's all perfectly legal," I snatched the papers. They weren't legal documents. They were HOA newsletters. One even had a recipe for potato salad on the back. "Karen, these are fake. You can't use made-up rules to justify trespassing." She just crossed her arms. "You're being difficult again. These families paid to be here. Do you really want to ruin their day?" That stopped me cold. "Paid?" "Oh, of course," she said casually. "It's a fundraiser for our HOA. Each family donated for the buses and the event costs. It's already been arranged." My stomach dropped. She'd charged people for access to land she didn't own. I raised my voice so everyone could hear. "Listen up! You've all been lied to. This isn't community property. This is my land. You're trespassing." The laughter and chatter died instantly. Heads turned. Parents froze mid-step. One man frowned. "Wait, what?" "She said this was an HOA event." "It's not," I said firmly. "Check your maps. The HOA ends at the fence line behind you." Karen's face twitched, her smile faltering for the first time. "Don't listen to him," she said, waving her hands. "He's just upset. This lake's been part of the community for years." "No, it hasn't," I snapped. "You've been imagining that since the day you moved in." The crowd began to murmur. A few people looked uneasy. One woman whispered, "You told us this was approved." "We paid for this trip," Karen's tone sharpened. Everyone calmed down. "He's bluffing. You're allowed to be here. Now let's get the grills going." I didn't let her finish. I walked straight to the gate, wrapped a chain around the bars, and snapped the padlock shut. Karen froze. "What do you think you're doing?" Making sure no one else trespasses, I said, turning back slowly. Since you brought 10 buses without permission, we're going to wait right here until the sheriff arrives. Gasps spread through the crowd. One man yelled, "You can't lock us in." I'm not locking you in, I said evenly. I'm keeping the situation contained until law enforcement sorts it out. If you want to leave, we'll do it properly. With the sheriff here. Karen's face went pale. The crowd turned on her. A father shouted, "You charged us for this!" You said it was official. Another woman held up her phone. I paid $250 for my family. You lied to us. Karen tried to shout over them. No, don't believe him. He's twisting everything. But the noise was building. Anger, confusion, betrayal. Someone called 911. Then another. Then another. Half an hour later, red and blue lights appeared down the road. 2 sheriff's deputies stepped out, scanning the chaos. The buses, the families, the furious faces. Karen sprinted forward like she'd been waiting for her rescue. Officer! Arrest him! He locked us in against our will! The deputy held up a hand. Whose property is this? I handed over my deed and ID. Mine, every inch of it. I woke up to 10 buses full of trespassers led by this woman who says she has rights she doesn't have. The deputy looked at the papers, then at Karen. Ma'am, is this true? Did you organize this? Karen stammered. Well, it was for the community. Ma'am, the deputy cut her off. You collected money for access to private property you don't own. That's trespassing and possible fraud. The crowd erupted. Voices shouting for refunds, waving receipts in her face. Karen's composure shattered. This isn't fair. You can't do this to me. But she wasn't talking to me anymore. She was talking to the deputies as they wrote her citations. One by one, the buses turned around and rolled out. By the time the last one left, the only thing left behind was trampled grass, a few paper plates. And Karen, standing alone, trying to salvage the last scraps of her pride. As I unlocked the gate, one of the deputies glanced back and said quietly, "Next time, call us sooner." I nodded. Next time, I'll make sure the gate stays locked before the buses show up. By Monday morning, word had spread faster than wildfire. The HOA's private Facebook group was melting down. Post after post, comment after comment, all demanding answers from Karen. Screenshots of receipts, photos of the buses, even videos of her barking orders at the lake were everywhere. Someone captioned one clip, "HOA president caught scamming families for fake lake party." It hit 10,000 views in a day. By Tuesday, Karen's pristine image, the woman who once bragged about bringing order to the neighborhood, was in ashes. HOA members flooded her inbox. One message leaked later said, "You've embarrassed the entire community. Step down before we vote you out." But if there's one thing Karen couldn't do, it was admit defeat. She marched right into the next HOA meeting, chin up, armed with a binder so thick it looked like a legal defense. "This is a misunderstanding," she said, her voice trembling but determined. "That man's land has always been considered an extension of our recreation area." Someone shouted from the back, "Then why'd you charge us for it, Karen?" Silence. Another voice added, "My kids cried when the sheriff showed up. You said it was all approved." That's when Karen finally cracked. Her excuses spiraled, blaming clerical errors, miscommunication, even claiming the bus company mixed up the address. But everyone in that room knew she'd been lying for months, pretending to control land that wasn't hers, all to make herself feel powerful. The vote to remove her as president passed in under 5 minutes. A week later, her front yard had a for sale sign. Apparently, she couldn't handle the whispers, the glares, the quiet laughter from neighbors every time they passed her porch. One day she was gone, just like that. House empty, reputation destroyed, all because she couldn't mind her own business. As for me, I went back to normal life. Mornings on the porch, evenings by the lake. No buses, no noise, just peace. But every time I pass that gate, I still see the faint mark where the chain had rubbed the paint, the lock that ended her reign. A few weeks later, the new HOA president, a soft-spoken guy named Mark, stopped by to introduce himself. He handed me a pie and said, "We're sorry for what happened." She gave us all a bad name, I smiled. "Don't worry, Mark, just keep your buses on your side of the fence." He laughed awkwardly, then promised they would. Since then, the neighborhood's been quiet. Too quiet, maybe. But I like it that way, because peace isn't about fences or bylaws. It's about knowing where your line stands and making sure no one crosses it again. And Karen? Last I heard, she joined another HOA in a different county. I wish them luck. They'll need it. Some people only learn the hard way that control isn't power. It's a trap. And when you try to take what's not yours, don't be surprised when the gate locks behind you.